This is the preview of the Manchester City v Tottenham Hotspur Champions League quarter-final second leg game on Wednesday night. Cannot wait for this one. This should be an absolute cracker. Obviously, Tottenham go into the tie 1-0 up from the first leg. Now, on this week's video, I have asked Man City Fan TV to give me their thoughts. I've also asked Ian Cheeseman to give me his thoughts as well. So here they are.
So what did I make of the first leg? Obviously it was fascinating to come down to the new stadium. I thought the inside of it was aesthetically very, very pleasing. It looks great inside, in other words. That big, huge bank reminds me a little bit of Dortmund or the old Aston Villa. And I loved it. Just thought the image of it and the way it was portrayed was fantastic. In the away section where I was, I have to say that things weren't absolutely right. I was shown a picture of a disabled supporter who couldn't actually see the pitch clearly and had to watch part of the game on the overhead TV screens. The toilets were awash with wee, basically. And the signposting around the back of that Sainsbury's to get to the entrance where you went in wasn't great. And I've seen a lot of City supporters, although I'm not sure this is true, claiming that some of the atmosphere that was created was by noise being played through the PA. Is that true? I've no idea whether that's true. I thought the atmosphere sounded good, however it was generated. In terms of the game, I thought Spurs deserved to win the game on the night, just about. Obviously, Aguero's penalty should have been converted, but I thought Spurs pushed on that little bit more, and I was very surprised to see City being so cautious, which is very unlike them. They did it at Anfield this season and got a 0-0 draw. It's only really the second time that I've seen Pep's team play that way, and I can only assume it's because of the defeat that he suffered at Anfield in the quarter-finals of the Champions League last year, and maybe the goals conceded at Monaco as well in the Champions League, and that he feels that to the second leg and having either a draw, which he presumably aimed for, or only a narrow defeat would give them a massive boost in the second leg. Without Bernardo Silva, I thought City were a little bit under par. We were all, that is the fans, staggered that Kevin De Bruyne and Leroy Sané didn't play. But we'll see. I would be very surprised if those two don't start the second leg. In terms of what to expect from the second leg, I think 1-0 is a very precarious lead for anybody. But of course we know that if Spurs get one goal, that is very, very difficult then for City, who's got to score 3. If I was putting money on it, and I'm not going to predict a scoreline despite what you've asked, because I never predict scorelines for anybody. If I was going to put money on it, I would say that City still have the slight edge and will come out fired up in that second leg, particularly if Bernardo Silva is fit. Thanks very much for inviting me onto your channel, and hopefully I'll see you up at the Etihad.
Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. Well, this is a video for Tottenham fan Chris Cowlin, and he's asked me a couple of questions, and they are a very quick review of my thoughts on the game last Wednesday. Also looking ahead to the game at the Etihad on Wednesday night, the return leg, and also my score prediction. So going back to last week, which seems like an age ago now with the way City are playing every 3 days, but yeah, I thought you guys set up really well. I thought you defended exceptionally well. I thought Sissoko in the midfield did really well. But I also think, I don't think we helped ourselves with our team selection. I'm not sure playing Fernandinho and Gundogan in the same team really helped us. So I'll be very surprised if Pep goes down that route on Wednesday night. But, you know, credit to you guys. You dug in, you defended well. Obviously, we got the penalty. Gutted that Sergio missed it and Lloris made a save. It was a pretty comfortable save in the end because it wasn't a great penalty, if I'm honest. And I think if we would have scored that, I think we would have gone on to win it 2 or 3-0. I think Gundogan made some comments after the game saying that he thought that if we would have scored that goal, we might have gone on and actually won it comfortably. And I agree with him, or at least it would have put us in a very good position, but it didn't. You know, Lloris made a great save, and then our Achilles heel when, you know, we've conceded goals this season. has always been that back post and little dinks over the top and crosses and things like that. And the fact that Delph played that night was, to City fans, not only was the midfield a bit strange, but the fact that he brought Delph in for such an important game, I thought was bizarre. But he played, and there we go. The Achilles heel happened. A little dink ball over the top. Delph out of position, trying to claim offside instead of just playing the ball and waiting for the ref's assistant to do something. There was a delay. Son did really well to keep it in. I thought Delph then and Gundogan didn't do enough to block the shot. And I'll be honest with you, I thought Ederson was poor. I thought Ederson, he had an injury just prior to it, but still think he should have saved it. But 1-0 to you guys. And then we were pretty comfortable for, most of the game. We just didn't create a great deal. And I think you guys defended exceptionally well. Got a good 1-0 victory, which takes us back to Wednesday night. So, my thoughts are, and I agree with Pep Guardiola when he turned around and said, at 0-0, you're in a bit of a conundrum of whether you try to, be solid and then try and, get into the game and score a goal and see what happens. At 1-0 down into Wednesday night, we know what we've got to do. And I think Pep will pick a very attacking team, and I think we'll go for it on Wednesday night. So I think it's going to be a completely different lineup and a completely different approach than it was last Wednesday, because at the end of the day, out of the 3 games, if we had to lose one of them, that was the game, and we only lost it 1-0. So I'm confident of us going back to the Etihad on Wednesday night and doing the job. I'll be honest with you, I think it'll still be a tough game, but if we got an early goal, I think we could get 2 or 3 quite quickly. And yes, if you got an early goal, that cat is definitely amongst the pigeons, and anything could happen. But I'm fairly confident that at home we're very dominant. And so my score prediction, Chris, I've said it before on other videos. I think we'll win by 2. What that score's going to be, I don't know. Is it going to be 2-0 City, 3-1 City, 4-2? But I think there's definitely going to be goals in it, and it's going to be a wonderful occasion. So anyway, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. Chris, I hope that sort of answers your questions. And if you're around the stadium beforehand or afterwards, then just message me. It'd be great to catch up. But anyway, if you're not a subscriber of Man City Fan TV, you don't have to be a Man City fan. We have fans from Liverpool, United, Arsenal, Chelsea, whatever. And you want to subscribe and get involved. We do lots of sort of live vlogs daily, almost every day. And if you want to come on, have a chat, as long as you're sensible, check us out. It's Man City Fan TV, and we'll see you soon.
So the game we've all been waiting for, the second leg of the quarter-final of the Champions League, Manchester City v Tottenham. Tottenham obviously now go into the game with a 1-0 aggregate lead from the first leg. Sonny obviously got the goal. Now the big talking point for all Tottenham fans, what was wrong with Harry Kane? It now looks like he is going to be out for the remainder of the season. So Sonny's got more, even more work to do. Now the second leg is obviously going to be an extremely difficult game. Superb performance by Tottenham, a first European night at the brand new stadium, and I'm just so glad that we got the win. Now you couldn't have asked for much more, really. Tottenham won the game, clean sheet. If you ask every Tottenham fan, when Sergio Aguero put that ball down at the penalty spot, we all thought that he was going to bury the goal and get the goal, and it was going to be the first European goal at the brand new stadium. Now, Hugo Lloris made a great save, and we won the game 1-0. It was a great performance by Tottenham, but we all know how superb Manchester City are. We all know what a fantastic manager they've got. We all know what a fantastic team they've got. Now, a lot of Manchester City fans were obviously disappointed with the lineup at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last week. I expect that to be very, very different at the Etihad. I expect Manchester City to set up very, very attacking, and we all know what a threat they can be. You've only got to look at the last round, putting many goals against Schalke, big scoreline, Champions League, unbelievable result. And we all know how many goals that they've scored as well. An incredible amount of goals. They are still in all 4 competitions. Obviously won the League Cup, but they're in all the other 3 competitions still, and do look very, very strong in every game that they play. So it is going to be an extremely difficult game. If I was to predict, I'm just hoping that Tottenham hold out for a draw. I really am. I don't expect Tottenham to win this game, but we are going into the game with a 1-0 lead. So all we need is to draw the game, and Tottenham will be through to their first ever semi-final in the Champions League. So big fingers crossed. I just hope that Tottenham carry the game through and get the result. Anyway, I'm now going to run you through some stats and some interesting facts. Now, an encouraging stat for all of us Tottenham fans: Manchester City have played English teams in European competition 5 times in their history. The first time was in the 70-71 season. They played Chelsea in the European Cup Winners' Cup semi-final. They lost 1-0 at home and they lost 1-0 away. Then they played Liverpool last season in the Champions League quarter-final. They lost 2-1 at home and they lost 3-0 away. And then obviously the result last week, losing to Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So an encouraging little bit of news for Tottenham there. They have played English teams in European football 5 times, 5 defeats. Now, another interesting fact going into this game: City have been eliminated from all 3 of their previous Champions League knockout matches when they have lost the first leg. Now, Manchester City in their history have played in the Champions League 8 times. The best that Manchester City have ever done was in the 15-16 season, when they were in the semi-finals and they lost to Real Madrid. Obviously, last season they were in the quarter-finals and then obviously lost to Liverpool. Now, Tottenham, this is the 4th time that Tottenham have been in the Champions League. And the furthest Tottenham have ever got is in the quarterfinals. Obviously, Tottenham reached the quarterfinals as well last season, losing to Juventus after a 2-2 away draw and then losing 2-1 at Wembley Stadium. The last time Tottenham won at the Etihad Stadium was 3 years ago, when we got a 2-1 away win. Now, the last visit to the Etihad was last season, and Manchester City thumped Tottenham 4-1 in the Premier League. Now, I must admit, I think once last season I actually applauded the opposition, and I just said that they were of a different class. They were absolutely superb. They just ripped Tottenham apart, and that was Manchester City at the Etihad. Manchester City at the Etihad, when they beat Spurs 4-1 last season, you just had to, put your hands together and clap the opposition, because sometimes the opposition, not very often, being a Tottenham fan do I say that, but Manchester City were top draw last season, and they ripped Tottenham apart, and there was a huge quality difference. But I'm just hoping that we can get the result. I really am. And the overall stats actually, between the two teams, Manchester City v Tottenham. Manchester City in all competitions have beat Tottenham 61 times in their history. And funny enough, Tottenham have beaten Manchester City 61 times in their history, 35 draws. So it is very even, but obviously Tottenham do have the advantage going into this game. And another interesting fact here, Spurs have progressed to the next round on each of the past 9 occasions in which they have won the first leg of a European knockout match, and that is excluding qualifiers. So the winners of this quarter-final, Manchester City v Tottenham, will face Juventus or Ajax in the semi-finals. How exciting is that? If Tottenham get there, it will be the first ever time Tottenham will have reached a a semi-final of a Champions League. As I said earlier, Manchester City went to the semi-finals in the 15-16 season and lost to Real Madrid. But how fantastic would it be? And absolutely brilliant that we know at least one English club will be in the semis. So a big thank you to Ian Cheeseman and Andy from Man City TV for those views on last week's match and previewing Wednesday's game. Let me know in the comments section below what you think the result will be. Are you confident being a Tottenham fan, or even if you are a Manchester City fan watching this, what do you think? What are your thoughts? Please put them in the comments section below. I know it's going to be a very, very difficult game. I can't wait to be there. For the neutral fan, it must be very, very exciting. But to any Manchester City or Tottenham fan, I'm sure it will be very nerve-wracking. But I can't wait to go to the Etihad on Wednesday, and I hope that it is one glory night for us. Come on, you Spurs.